Welcome to the Fragrance Files.
Welcome to the Fragrance Files.
All right, Mishi, finish the sentence. A great fragrance doesn't have to.
Last 12 hours.
I knew I loved perfume when.
Ooh. When I realized it could smell like a snack.
I wish more brands would.
Gift more PR to Black women.
I'll never understand why people.
Are obsessed with Amber Mac.
My most controversial fragrance opinion is.
Beast mode fragrances are trash. Are you sensing a
All
theme
right.
here? There's a theme.
Yeah.
Is that it?
That's all I got for you.
Okay, I love it. All right, okay, my turn. A note I've changed my mind about the most is.
Vanilla.
Oh, okay. The fragrance I recommend the most is.
Ghost of You by Mythologia.
That tracks. That's very accurate. The biggest misconception about niche perfume is.
That it's independent.
Yes. Okay. Fragrance has taught me.
Not to go strictly by gut, but to spend time with things.
Okay. And last, the future of perfume should.
Be of the people, by the people, for the people.
Fuck yeah. Welcome everyone. So we have a kind of a different episode for us tonight. We decided that we were going to put out to all of you a ask me anything kind of scenario where you can get to know us a little bit more. Maybe it makes us feel a little less curated on the things that we want to talk about and answer the things that you really want to hear from us. So I have a drink in hand. So I might get a little loose lipped on this, but yeah, welcome, welcome for this one.
Yeah, I think we got some really good questions, and um, we'll dive right in. The first one is
Yeah,
actually for you.
it's for
Um,
me.
so this is from um, Bell Knows Notes.
Yeah.
Burning question for the Fragrance Files about you, Mishi. Have you considered crossing over into consultation or brand specific work in marketing or sales operations for one of the larger houses?
So the short answer is yes. I've sort of over the past 3 years been. And even further than that, I think I've known that it's my time to leave the world of education for quite some time now. But over the past year and a half, I've really been dabbling on what the right place for me is. Um, I am not leaving Stell anytime soon. In fact, my role with Stell will be growing in the future. But looking ahead 10, 20 years from now, I think ideally my dream job would be in possibly consulting, but there is a position, and I'm blanking on the name of it right now. And it's sort of like the mediary between the perfumer and the client. So when a brand goes to a perfumer, whether it be one of the big oil houses or an independent perfumer, and gives them the brief on what they want, there's this middle person that is sort of the translator for both, right? So there are lots of people who want to start fragrance brands who don't necessarily know the lingo and might give you a big picture, but need help kind of reining it in. And also, perfumers can be a little bit on the they can be a little bit on the testy side. So there is that intermediary person that is making sure that is looking at it from an outside perspective to say, is this fragrance meeting your goals for what you're looking for? And is it also giving the perfumer creative freedom to make something truly special for you? So it's a fragrance evaluator. That's the name of the position. So a fragrance evaluator, I think, would be an absolute dream job for me. But from starting my content journey, I think the goal was never really to be a mega influencer. That's not really where I see myself. I am very happy with my smaller following because my audience is really engaged, and I'd rather have a really small, super engaged audience, um, and be able to build my career offline than be, the next, mega influencer. So, yeah, I mean, the goal is definitely eventually to move into fragrance full time. But yeah, we'll see where it goes.
And I think maybe people don't know this, and if any brands are listening and are interested, you have done and are still willing to do product photography for brands on kind of a sliding scale based on
Yeah.
what they need.
Yeah, so it's in my wheelhouse, and I'm actually talking with a brand right now. So it's an independent brand, who I really believe in their work, but they've been using AI in a lot of their marketing images and in some of their product images now. And I said, listen, I really like what you're doing, but to me, these images are devaluing what you bring to the table. And they absolutely agreed. They're like, I hate using AI. I just don't feel like I have the resources to go above that. And, I think when it comes to indie perfumers, I'm a little bit more forgiving and not willing to just write them off, as I am, a large brand that has the budget. I think for some people, especially in the indie space, it's hard. Like you're the only person doing this. You're asked to be the perfumer, the social media person, shipping, it's all on you. So I a few years ago opened it up to brands that I'd be willing to do product photography for them. And I do truly only do it very seldomly now just because my schedule is insanely packed as it is. But, putting this out there to other brands as well, don't feel like you need to use AI because that feels like it's your only option. I am more than willing to do photos for you. I know other content creators who are amazing photographers who would also do it for you. There's resources out there, and I think just reach out to the people that you see creating and reach out for help, because if you're really true about this art form, I want your images and your product marketing to match how passionate you really are.
I would say, yeah, message to any small brand. If you're lost and feel like you don't have access to marketing, to copy, to photography, to graphic
Mhm.
design, reach out to the Fragrance Files. We know so many people that can
Yeah.
engage with you.
Professional copywriters, I mean, videographers, so many people that are also huge fragrance heads that would be happy to help. So, hi, Mishy and Josh. I'm a huge fan of the podcast. How do you and Josh balance supporting perfumers with avoiding overconsumption? This is a constant tension for me. I know I have far more fragrances than I can ever hope to use in a lifetime, but it's also really important to me to put my money where my mouth is and support the creators and brands that I love.
I love this question because I
Mhm.
think it's something we all struggle with a little bit. Once you start collecting fragrance, you very
Yeah.
quickly realize how much you have and how much it takes to use a single bottle.
Mhm.
Um, for me personally, there are kind of two main ways I can support brands. There are brands that I love and that I believe in that aren't for me. They don't have an offering that I would want on my shelf. And those are always brands that I want to hype online, that I want to
Yeah.
recommend to others, that I want people to explore. And that's a non monetary praise and help.
Mhm.
And then I'm fortunate enough to have a pretty healthy perfume budget. So if there is a brand I like, I'm going to buy something from them. I also have no problem decluttering things. So it is not
Mm.
uncommon for me to be like, I love this. Here, roommate, have it. Here, friend, have it.
Yeah.
You know, hey, Mishy, do you want to try this? And I'll just send her the bottle. Because the money that I spent to me is not about having a full bottle. It's about the joy of experiencing it and about like supporting a brand that I believe in. So
Yeah.
even if I don't keep it and use the whole bottle, I'm happy to have supported them.
Yeah.
What
I
about you?
am I'm very comfortable sharing a lot of my collection in that there's way more perfume here than I will ever use in a lifetime as well. And for so when friends ask me to try things, I'm more than happy to make decants and send it over to them. I don't always follow through in a very timely manner because ADHD, but I am always willing to decant anything from my collection to, and even for people who really want to try some of the more obscure things in my collection and samples may not be available, I am happy to share that. And I think sharing my collection has been one of the best ways, not only in building community, but in helping to spread the word because, if there's a product that you can't sample, but a friend has it that you can smell, like you're helping that brand make a sale without trying, while also building those connections. And I think for me, I also, if I can't afford to purchase something, I will repost, I will share, I will use my platform as often as possible to support the people that, especially the brands that I care about and the people that I think are doing amazing things, because I can't buy every bottle. I am very, very privileged and very lucky to get quite a lot of fragrances in PR. And I I'm somebody who doesn't believe in selling my PR, not against other people who do that, but I love to, when I do get it, if it's not something I'm loving or if it's not something for me, I love to swap it with other friends as well. I will make my video. I will say if something is not for me, but this is the audience that it is for. But I think always just, I think the key point in that is if you are somebody who is just a collector but not a content creator, is share, repost, talk about it. Because even if you're not purchasing it, maybe amplifying somebody's voice is the way to get other people to purchase it. And don't be against purchasing samples and decants if that's what's in your budget. I think we don't always need to have a full bottle of everything that we love. If I purchased every single full bottle of every fragrance that I liked, I would need an entire house to fit it all.
Yeah, I'm a big fan now of travel sizes and getting rid
I
of bottles.
Okay, so here's my thing about travel sizes. Go into this like weird like scarcity mindset when I have a travel size that I don't want to finish it, and then I kind of put it in a drawer and it kind of disappears and I forget about it.
I have the opposite experience, which is why I find that so interesting. When I have a travel size and I do my full spray for a day and I see the dent,
Mhm.
I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna finish this
Yeah.
in a week." Like, it's like I'm completing the game. I'm
Yeah.
doing the level.
I love when I can do that. So, all right, so side question. What are some travels that you emptied that you knew you needed a full bottle of?
So I've talked about it before on short form for sure. Cloak
Mhm.
Musk by Suntrunk is like my work
Mhm.
fragrance,
Mhm.
and I've been through three or four travel sizes.
Wow.
And I like to buy that travel size because it lives in my work bag. But I
Mhm.
loved it enough that I found I was going into my work bag to get out and spray. And that's when I was like, I need a bottle of this for my cabinet.
Yeah. Yeah. I finally smelled cloak musk because we got sent drunk in Estelle, and I understand. It's actually one of the few musks that I can smell, and I really enjoy it, so I get it. For me, the two the two most recently was Dirty Peach by Heretic.
Hmm.
I finished that travel size so fast, and that's a 15 ml travel size, and I flew through it. And I am not somebody who wears fragrances for compliments, but I got so many fucking compliments on Dirty Peach. And I think it's on their sale right now. So I don't know if it's a fragrance that's going away, but I highly recommend trying that one out. It is so juicy and delicious. It's one of my favorite peach fragrances. And then most recently, it happened with Sunset and Tamarindo from Chris Collins. I flew through that in under a week. I loved it so much.
But I mean, it's only available in a travel size, which is disappointing to me, but 14 Carats by Heretic. I also
So
blew through.
good. So good. Yeah. Heretic, bring us full-size bottles. Bring us
Right.
full-size bottles.
Um, this is a related question to the last one. This is from
Okay.
John. What part about sharing perfume with others brings you the most joy? And then examples that he gave to thought provoke is it the reactions that they receive? Are you proud of your knowledge of the perfumes? Is it just the sheered experience?
I think it's all of that. Like I love a shared experience. And I listen, I anytime I get to show off what I know, I'm happy. I am somebody who is actually very like surprisingly as a content creator and a podcast co-host, I don't like being the center of attention. Unless it's something I know everything about. Like, all right, so fun fact about me, I hate being the center of attention so much that I eloped. I could not have a wedding because I could not bear being the center of attention. Now, I still wound up doing that because I got married at Comic-Con, but that's a side story for another time.
In cosplay.
In costume, yes, we were Captain America and Captain Carter. That is a whole other story. I've already had too much of this old fashioned to fully go into that. Um, but no, I hate being the center of attention unless I know absolutely everything about what I'm talking about. So when it comes to fragrance, I'm like, I want to tell you everything. My nephew recently really got into it and he got into it with the dupes. That's been like his gateway. And I keep telling him, I'm like, just come over. Just come to the house. Let me show you the real stuff. So yeah, I mean it is shared experience. It is sharing your knowledge. But for me, like as somebody who also sells fragrance, when somebody finds something that they truly connect with, it makes me so excited. And it's kind of like putting together a puzzle for me. So just last weekend, one of my best friends and his future wife came in to purchase their wedding fragrances. And she had come in a couple weeks earlier and we found lots that she enjoyed. We had a great time. But I knew my friend was going to be really difficult because this is a grown man that eats nothing but like chicken fingers and french fries. I'm like, you are going to be really fucking hard to pick something for. And we spent a solid, like maybe hour and a half going through, and we found I mean, I think this man has worn Curve for since we're in high school. But we not only found one fragrance that he's going to wear for his wedding, but we found another fragrance that is on his wish list. And I'm like, to open his world to all of this and see how excited it made him and her to find something, like made me feel really good inside. It's a long-winded answer. I'm sorry.
No, I agree with you. I think I've learned, I mentioned it on a previous episode, I don't do small talk well. I find it
Hmm.
really hard to relate to people on surface level conversations.
Hmm.
And sharing the experience of perfume bypasses that. And
Hmm.
you can so easily start to learn things about people when they smell something and they're like, oh, this reminds me of every summer I spent with my grandma. Or oh, this reminds me of when I worked at McDonald's. Like you get those bits and those pieces that let you relate to someone easier. I've also learned that perfume is a love language for me.
Hmm.
Like when I really care about someone and I smell something and I think about them, I'm like, I want you to smell this because it makes me think of you and this facet of you.
I love that.
I
Yeah.
also have like an encyclopedic knowledge of perfumes that I've smelled. So it is fun to show that off because I didn't realize that was a unique skill until we were at Fumed and Noah from Amphora. They were like, you should ask Josh. Josh knows every perfume he's ever smelled.
No, it is really quite incredible. I think for a while my fragrance journey, I was kind of like hoarding samples as this I need to keep a reference library, but I wound up giving them all to my husband to bring to his work colleagues because I'm like I actually don't need to go back and reference because I remember them so vividly. So that's not everybody though. Some people need it. It sticks here forever.
Yeah. I do. I kind of envy people when they're like, "These are the notes I wrote while I was sampling this." And I'm like, "You wrote notes?" I just have this like cinematic vision when I think of a perfume name, and I'm like, "Yeah, that's what this is."
Yeah, yeah. I tried to be a notes person, but it's my brain doesn't work that way. You are a spreadsheet person though.
Do love a good spread.
I know when you had your collection was much larger, you had like a whole categorized spreadsheet.
Yep. I had it divided by fragrance family, core note, the season you would wear it, the time of day you'd wear it. Um, but I also think that was a result of having so many fragrances that I
Hmm.
couldn't say, oh, this is the fragrance for today.
Yeah.
And now that I
Yeah.
have a much more curated collection, it's just emotion.
Yeah. I tried having a spreadsheet for a while, and I kind of got mad at myself when I was like approaching the 300 mark. I'm like, this is too many. Stop. I couldn't bear to put any more on there after that. I was like, I'm just feeling bad about myself now. So, um, it is what it is. All right. So, our friend Mr. Salty asks, I know this has probably been asked, but if not, if you had to pick a scent or scents to describe one another, which one or which ones would it be?
I think getting to know you and getting to be friends with you, there's different parts of Mishi that I would associate with different fragrances. So when
Okay.
I think of like my friend Mishi and like the warmth of giving you a hug and laughing with you, I think of like Indigo Smoke by Arquise.
Mhm.
Because
I
it's
love
just
that
that
one.
cozy, warm love. And you are the person who exposed me to that fragrance, so it's an association. But then when I also think of like Mishi, my co-host, and the badass that's taking the floor of the fragrance events and the Beyonce of Stell, I think of like Portrait of a Lady.
Ooh, okay, that's so interesting because that's what I hated for so long, but now I
I
love.
know, but it is like that, like confident, like sharp, sexy. So I associate that like outward view of you with that fragrance.
I love that. Oh, I feel so loved. I think a brand that I associate a lot with you is probably Filippo Sorcinelli. For me, they are you are this very like quiet, strong presence at all times. And like I feel like especially when we're together, I feel very grounded by you. And I think a lot of those scents also like there's this religious kind of overtone of them. A lot of incense and like for me growing up in a Catholic church also those scents make me feel very grounded. And so being around you, I kind of have that same feeling, even though those are fragrance I've never smelled on you in particular.
Right.
But definitely like I think incense fragrances that make me feel calm and make me feel steady remind me a lot of you.
I love that. I love
I
Filippo. I mean,
I
it makes
know.
sense.
I love you, friend. Oh man. Great
Uh,
question, Salty.
yeah. Grant asks, and I think this is actually three questions in one.
Okay.
How do you handle spilled, spoiled, or stolen perfumes?
Um, so spilled I will say I don't have many spills, but there was a moment where two moments. One where my daughter broke my travel size of Havana Gold from Dries Van Noten, and one where my cat broke my body oil of the sweet cream from Skin. Devastating. But since my fragrance room is in my bedroom, it just meant that my bedroom smelled phenomenal for quite a long time. Uh, cleaning that up was kind of I was very nervous about the perfume in particular because I was afraid it was going to peel the finish on the floor, but it didn't. I cleaned it up rather quickly. Spoiled, I am lucky enough that I've only ever had maybe two fragrances ever actually spoil, and that was because before I was, really educated on how to preserve fragrances, I used to keep them in my bathroom, which if you don't know, you should never keep your fragrances in the bathroom. And I still lived with them for quite a while because generally when a perfume spoils, um the top notes kind of disappear, but the middle and base notes are kind of living there. I've never had a fragrance really go rancid, so I don't know if I could answer that one. Um as far as stolen perfumes, I've never had a fragrance be stolen from my house, usually because I'm just like, here, take it, take all the fragrances. But having fragrances stolen from the store is traumatic. Um, because it feels very violating when it happens. Um, but yeah, it's a bad feeling, and there's whole lots of police reports, and nothing really ever happens with it, but, yeah, it's kind of a nerve-wracking but really awful situation.
Yeah, I have only had two spills. One, I dropped my bottle of Brutal by Demolished Studio,
Mm.
and thankfully, rather than the bottle shattering, it snapped the atomizer off. So I was able to catch the bottle, it didn't leak too much, and then I had decant bottles, and I just made several decants of it. And I was like, well, I've lost this cute bottle, but I didn't lose a whole lot of the fragrance.
Mhm.
Um, I also was doing a decant of, oh, who are they? They went out of business. Tonkin Tonka was the fragrance
Oh,
by Unleashed
yes.
Apothecary.
Yes.
And I was doing some decanting of that for people to smell because I wanted to get rid of it. And I dropped a 2 milliliter sample of Tonkin Tonka on my hands. I smelled like a hot gym shoe for like 3 or 4 days. Um, it was so potent and there was so much of it on my hands that like no, I did rubbing alcohol, I did coconut oil, I did like an exfoliating soap. It was there.
That is strong.
Yeah, it's a super strong deer musk. So I learned that sample decanting is not for the faint of heart and only
Mhm.
happens on a flat surface.
Yes.
Uh, Spoiled. Similarly, I've only had I like two small travel sizes of a perfume oil go rancid, and I was
Mm,
like, oh, noted, unfortunate. Um, and now I just anything that I know has a high concentration of naturals, I kind of prioritize using.
yes, definitely. I, perfume oils and, like, body oils I've had have spoiled a lot faster, and I'm not sure why that is. Unfortunately, those do wind up going in the trash, but I don't think it's the perfume part that spoils, I think it's the carrier oil that's in them. Those are probably better to keep, like, in the fridge, honestly, because, like, especially, like, jojoba oil, when jojoba oil spoils, it smells gnarly. So, body oils, I think, I'm not in so the body oils that I have currently, I have very small vials of. I have a lot of the small vials of Brown Sugar Babe, which I absolutely adore, but I should probably keep those in my I should probably keep those in my fridge. Yeah, that'd be smart.
We're gonna
Let's
start
see.
seeing perfume rooms with mini fridges full of
L
fragrance.
Listen, in about 6 months when I buy my new house and I have to completely redo my fragrance room, because 'cause I'm gonna have a fragrance room, which is really exciting, there might be a mini fridge. Maybe a little desk fridge, just for the
I'm here
oils.
for it.
Yeah. So let's see, oh, this is a great question. So Jose asks, "Is there a fragrance in your collection that you don't actually like anymore? And if so, why do you still own it?"
This is a question more for you than me. I
Yeah.
have no sentimental attachments to perfumes anymore. I get rid of things I do like.
Yeah, you do, you do. I
I
had
have
to
no,
look. Oh my
yeah.
gosh.
On my side, personally, I get rid of a fragrance if I haven't worn it in like 2 months. And if I loved it so much that I miss it, I will buy it again.
I
I
feel
have
like you're
no
j
qualms with getting rid of things.
I feel like you're judging me.
This is a question for Mishi.
There's 2 answers to this. I can give a specific one, but I can also give, like, there are some brands that I've been gifted that were from the brands that first gifted me product and first believed in me as a content creator that I have a hard time parting with. And even though they're not necessarily scents that I reach for anymore, they stay in my collection because it's kind of a reminder to me that, like, somebody believed in you and made you keep going.
That's so
So,
sweet.
yeah. So I have lots of now being on some of those brands like regular PR lists, I will as they come in, like if it's doubles or if it's something I really don't enjoy, I will give it away. But some of those first bottles, I'm like, I need that as a reminder to myself, especially as somebody who can in the past, I think I've gotten really discouraged with things and given up way too quickly on them. And this is, working in the fragrance world and being in fragrance. It's the first time I feel like I'm really doing something for me and have been able to push back towards some of those negative self talk feelings. And I think having those fragrances in my collection are part of that. Like I can look at them and say, like, this is you're on the right track. Um, but for a more specific answer, I think I've said this in the past, but probably By the Fireplace by Mason Margiela. And I keep this for 2 reasons. One, because it is a fragrance that I think opened my world to the idea that fragrances don't have to especially fragrances for women, don't have to smell just fruity and floral. They can be so much more interesting than that. It was also my wedding fragrance, so I think I'll always have even a small bottle in my collection because of that. But yeah, I have quite a few replicas, and even though I don't wear them very often, they were kind of my gateway into the whole world, so they stay.
So, next question. This is from Gabe at Tank House. Have you ever smelled something so good but so expensive you wish you had never smelled it at all?
So many times. I will name 3 brands in particular. Um, Dries Van Noten, and I now own 4 of them. There are quite a lot of Dries Van Notens that I really, really enjoy, but for me, a comfortable range for a fragrance is once it gets above 250, I find it really challenging to justify the price. Um, Dries Van Noten, I think, is the only designer brand that is giving me truly interesting and creative fragrances, although they are at a much higher price tag, and the bottles are gorgeous. So yeah. Um, but there are still several that I want that I don't own because the price is quite prohibitive. Um, my main one, which actually entered my collection fairly recently, was Tobacco Honey from Guerlain. I smelled that early on in my scent journey, and I promised myself I would buy it when I achieved something big. I actually wound up buying this off of our friend Elsie when we were at Fumed, and she gave me an amazing price on it. It's nearly a full bottle. And I'm like, you know what? This is us going to an event as a podcast is a big achievement. So it's time. So even though I didn't pay full price for it, I'm happy to have it at my collection. But I feel that way about a lot of Guerlains. I really enjoy them, but the price is prohibitive for me. And the last one is Jinx. Jinx fragrances blow my fucking mind. There is one right now in the store called Summer of Sadness that
I
has
need to smell it.
oh my god. It's so good. And I keep working and I'm like, okay, I have this event coming up, this thing coming up, this vacation coming up. How can I make this work? Because I believe it's like 595, I believe. It's in the upper 500s, but it is 1965 aged Mysore sandalwood. And it's unlike anything I've ever I can't even describe it to you. It's so incredible. I can't wait for you to smell it next month. Oh my god. But it blows me away, and I feel I love a lot of Jinx fragrances. I do have one in my collection that I wound up buying off of somebody else's declutter, and I'm so thrilled to own it. But yeah, they're so Dries Van Noten, Guerlain, and at the tippy top of the list because I would own all of them is Jinx.
My list is much shorter than yours, but we have Jinx in common.
Yes.
I do find the way they do ingredient sourcing, and
Mhm.
they're all very limited run. This is what I could source. This is the creation I made with it. When it's done, it's done. I think is a really cool form of the
Mhm.
perfume art. It's a specific business model. I know some people really hate that.
Yeah.
I can appreciate it because it is truly limited edition. I don't
Hmm.
love when limited editions come back around.
Yeah.
Um, but the price point is very prohibitive. And the other one, I have a pretty healthy perfume budget. There is no scenario where this is ever entering my sphere of purchase, and that is Pluto by 1511 Paris.
Ah.
um, it is, you are buying an art to object
Yes.
with perfume in it, and it
Yeah.
is $1,400.
But the most gorgeous bottles.
I've heard like the packaging, you like reach through a membrane, like it's an experience and an art object and a very high quality perfume. So I do respect it. I
Yeah.
smelled Pluto and immediately was like, get this away from me. I'm gonna be in trouble if I keep sniffing this.
Yeah. Yeah. That's how I feel too about a lot of those. I I recently texted Jake, the one of the owners from Stell, because we got this brand called Folklore in. And in the similar vein of like Jinx and Lost Tribe, and in that it's, aged materials, really like natural. And I'm like, I hate you so much for making me fall in love with this genre of perfume. Because it's all I can think about, but these are the brands that, like, when we're talking about going over that 300-400 threshold, these are the only brands that I think that's justified, because the juice in the bottle is actually worth what they're being charged, what you're being charged for, right? You're using precious ingredients that are never going to be you're never going to get another Mysore sandalwood from 1965. Once it's done, it's done. So those to me are the brands that are worth it, and I hate that Jake made me love them.
Yeah, I was thinking about it, and 300 is really my ceiling with perfume
Mhm.
now. And it really has to be like life altering for me to go over 300 now.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
I'm not going to pay for
Yeah.
the name brand, obviously, of a
No.
perfume. The
No.
only designer, this isn't even a question, the only designer fragrance that I've seriously considered buying since I started collecting was the Christian Louboutin Fetiche Incense.
That one is very good.
That whole line, credit where it's due, beautiful bottles, beautiful fragrances. The Santal, great. The amber, great. The lavender, I liked. So like,
Mhm. It's a solid, solid line. I can't put any hate on them.
even then, I think it only comes in at like 280.
Which is really not bad. It's really, I mean, that's kind of sounds crazy to say. I know, because there are a lot of
It,
people who, like, a bottle that's at 150 is a stretch, and I completely understand that. I think we live in a kind of a different world where, like, fragrance is kind of like it's part of our budget. You know? So even at 280, it's not really very accessible. But when I think of other brands who have the same name notoriety as Louboutin, 280 is a reasonable, while others are asking 600-700 for juice
yeah, I
that's
mean,
not nearly as interesting.
I think the fetish line would wipe the floor with every single mind games,
Oh yeah,
and it's cheaper.
absolutely. It also absolutely destroys any single Louis Vuitton as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. So yeah. Actually, while we're on the topic and feeling a little spicy, um, Nikki asks,
Okay.
what do you think about the House of Beau recent price hikes? Now more money per milliliter than Guerlain.
I All right. So I know I upset some people with this take, that I no longer feel like they are worth their price per ml. I own 4 House of Bows. I adore House of Bow, genuinely. I I've been a fan of them far before they became really viral on TikTok, way before they had their 40 ml release, when they were only in Bergdorf and had, it was 370 something or 350 for a 75 ml bottle. So my love runs very deep for them. But for me, I've praised them so much. I've praised them on this podcast for the release of the 40 ml bottle. Releasing a smaller size in an equally gorgeous bottle at a very at a much more accessible, I can't say very accessible, it's a more accessible price point of originally 175. That was huge, and I think opened them up to such a great market and made them go viral. People were going wild on TikTok for them because now it was within a lot of people's budgets. So I feel like this price hike has really deterred a lot of that audience that helped them rise to this level that they're at now. You know, they sort of debuted as a prestige luxury brand, but then brought themselves to meet the people and now says kind of like, all right, well, fuck you. You know, and there might be reason for this price hike. And this is where I feel like they've failed in their messaging. So I definitely recommend Asha Coco. This is what she does. She helps brands set prices and negotiate contracts. And she posted a really great Substack about it. And the the whole thing with why this price hike feels so much different from other brands, which let's be honest, prices do need to increase because of the economy that we're in, because of tariffs, because of material costs. It is inevitable. But when you announce a price hike, but don't give a reason behind that price hike, especially one that's almost at 40%, you're leaving way too much room for interpretation for your fan base. You're leaving way too much room for speculation on why this is happening, and it feels like a slap in the face, and you leave us to come up with these different ideas versus just being transparent about why this needs to happen. I think if they were honest with their audience, maybe it would have been better perceived. Still disappointing, but better perceived. And if it didn't follow up with like, hey, prices are going up, and then literally the next day there's a new release, it also would have felt different. I also want to point to our friend Arabelle, who posted a video, not naming them by name, but um, talking about how they use AI in their messaging to customers. So when you make a purchase, you get a AI video of the owner saying your name and thanking you for your order or thank you for visiting the website. And I think Arabelle has a really great point that the future is human made, and that's what's going to be luxury, because so much is going to turn to AI that if something is luxury, I want that human connection. And when you put AI in it, it ruins that luxury for me. So, long rant to say I'm fucking pissed about it.
I don't have a whole lot to add. I have never interacted with a House of Beau fragrance. I was a little suspect of their ability to make gemstone caps from the get go. Um, I work in like big business. So, from my perspective, again, this is my view in, I don't know the details. You make a move like that when you are trying to make your books look right so you can be
Mhm.
purchased, or because you have an investor who wants their money back. So they're either going to sell or they have someone who wants money, is what I see. I obviously
Yeah.
don't know the details.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because if you think about it, even if it's not the increased price, increasing the profit margins, that rush of sales because they've given people a window on when that price is going to go up, that increase of sales of people panic buying to purchase before the price goes up is going to boost your numbers greatly. So there feels like and this is what I mean. We're speculating because we don't know the real details. But that's giving you a window of like, hey, look at how much our sales, jumped in the third quarter. But I digress. And the reason why I say that they're not worth it any longer at this price point, although I do really love their fragrances, I think their past couple of releases to me have felt kind of redundant in the fragrance space, and where before I felt like they were much more unique and innovative in what they were bringing us, but the past two releases to me have felt very much same same. So price per milliliter, if I'm considering a House of Beau or a Guerlain, I'm gonna go with a Guerlain.
I do neither, but that's it.
This is gonna be a fun one for you, and I'm gonna add something in. So Discovering Casey asks, name one of each you'd recommend, niche, designer, and dupe, and I'm also gonna throw in indie in there.
Okay. One of each I'd recommend. Indie, very easy. Ghost of You by Mythology. We already did. I already said I recommend that to everyone, anyways.
Surprise, surprise.
Yeah. Um, Niche. I am gonna go with Heretic Haxon.
Mm, mm,
Designer. I'm gonna go with. I actually just said it. The Christian Louboutin Fetiche Incense, or
mhm.
the Dior New Look, the Privé Dior New Look
You
fragrance.
like that one? I hate that
It smells like a morgue. I think it's amazing. And then dupes I am ethically opposed to. So I would never recommend one. I think if you like a fragrance and it's not at an accessible price point to you, study it to understand what you like about it, and you can find a dozen DNAs that hit that sweet spot for you
Mhm.
in a cheaper price point from an independent brand. Or get a decant of that, and then you have something to aspire to.
I agree. I have a dupe that I think might bypass the ethical code for you.
Let's hear it.
All right.
I'm interested.
So, okay. For me, I'll start with my dupe, and that would be Liam Gray by Lattafa because it is a dupe of Gris Charnel by BDK. I won't get into it on the podcast here because they are very litigious, but if you want to know why I'm against it, you should do your own research on that. But yes, and honestly, having and I own the original and I own the dupe. I This is one of the rare occasions where I actually like the dupe better.
I think for me, okay, go ahead with your other ones. We'll circle back to
Okay,
this dupe
circle back.
conversation because
All
we
right.
we talked about it a few times in different episodes, so we'll put it to rest here. But
Yeah,
continue
yeah,
with
yeah.
your other
Okay.
recs.
All right. So niche for me, I would say my favorite niche. I'm gonna I'm gonna go Chris Collins for niche. Chris Collins is at a designer level price tag with most of his fragrances, but he is niche. That is all that he focuses on. I own multiple Chris Collins fragrances, and I think he works with some amazing perfumers. He has a great relationship with one of my favorite perfumers, Alexis Krujan, and everything that they are doing together, I've absolutely adored. Lust Eau de Lis, if I'm giving you a specific one, Savant Manhattan Cherry, everything he's done is African Rooibos. Amazing. So niche, we're gonna say Chris Collins. Designer, this is hard because I want to give an accessible designer because I could say Dries Van Noten, but I want something more accessible. I don't want to recommend it because I know it's owned by I think Estee Lauder, but for me, it's Replica by Mason Margiela. If you're looking for cool, new, different scent profiles that are not just what you expect in the male and female sections of a Sephora, try Mason Margiela. And then indie, there are far too fucking many for me to recommend. Um, I am going to call out specifically because I don't think I've given him enough love lately, but our friend JK. If you want really interesting anything from Closet, my favorite is Marginalia and Mushmallow. But yeah, Marginalia is a old book and dusty and a air conditioner sparking kind of fragrance. And Mushmallow is a marshmallow vanilla custard that is creamy and whimsical and incredible.
So this this dupe conversation
Okay.
for everyone has to find their own ethical code to live by. So if
Yes.
you have settled your position on dupes and you appreciate them, I am not here to change your point of view. I frankly don't care what you do with your money.
Hmm.
For me, I view a dupe as not really any different than like stealing someone's art, particularly from the
Hmm.
perfumer that made them.
Yeah.
That being said, there are perfumers that I know will make a fragrance and then work with the dupe house on the dupe as well. And that makes it sticky and complicated, and why I can't
Very.
say there are black and white answers to it. And I'm a person who loves a black and white answer. So, um, there are shades of it. I think if it is a big brand owned by a big house and they have murky ethics in the way they treat their people and the things that they support, the things that they say, the way that they operate, and you get a dupe. I again, I'm not going to say anything of what you should or shouldn't do with your money to begin with, but I feel like that is a lesser evil than buying a dupe of an independently owned perfume house.
Yes. I think that's where I draw the line because I think I can understand that especially some of these houses are so cost prohibitive and in a way that it's not like a Jinx where you're paying for the juice. You're just purely paying for the name. And I think for me, I don't like that sort of I don't like that feeling. I don't like treating people that way. And I think people deserve to smell great and have the luxury of fragrance at any price point. So in that sense, I understand dupe culture, but I don't support dupes in the same way. And I think where I fully draw the line is any dupe brand that goes after independent perfumers. I I don't care if you dupe Imagination from Louis Vuitton. I don't think it's actually hitting their bottom line, and I think their prices are overpriced for no reason other than the name, so I don't really care about that. But if you come for a smaller brand, that's and there are dupe companies out there that do that, and to me that is incredibly unethical. Um, so it's a gray area for me, especially when there are so many independent brands that are in the same price range as the dupes that are incredible, beautiful profiles that I think you should explore. So, it's a really nuanced conversation that I
It
don't
is.
want to be elitist and say you should never buy dupes because if that's what you can afford and that's what makes you feel good, then you do with your money what makes you feel good and what's in your budget to make you happy. So, um, it's a challenging conversation. Even though I don't particularly support dupes, it doesn't mean that you don't have to.
And I think there is, if I had to give guidance, which someone asked
Mhm.
us this question, so they kind of opened the door here. So, dear listeners, if you want to hear my guidance on it, it would be if you find something that you love and it is out of your price point, or it is from a brand that you don't want to support, maybe go on Parfumo,
Mhm.
go on the different forums, base notes, things like that. Look it up and see the fragrances people say it smells like, and see if there is an independent fragrance, either independent or niche or whatever, that is from a brand that you're willing to explore, and just buy a sample. And if it scratches the itch, great. You found a great alternative.
Mhm.
If you do that, nothing is scratching that itch, and you're still not either A, going to afford that or going to purchase from that brand, go to the gray market, go to the resellers.
Mhm.
And then if you still can't find it, then sure, I guess I do.
I have a caveat on the gray market. Um, if it's a new brand, if it's a new fragrance launch, here's the secret that nobody wants to tell you about the gray market. If it's been some of your older fragrances, they might be overstock. They're older stock. So there's always the chance that you're getting something that is older that might be past its expiration and it might smell very similar, but it might mean the top notes have gone away. which I think, we can expect. But if it's something that's new and it's on the gray market, you're at best case scenario buying stolen product. At worst case scenario, buying a fake. But what's even more common is you're buying something that for some reason could not be sold in retail stores. So I'm talking about like if this fragrance is released within the past like 6 months to a year and it shows up on the gray market, it means it's at some point in transportation, it has been overheated or frozen or something has happened to it that the retailers will no longer accept it for sale in their stores because the quality has been degraded. I can't tell you how many times back when we were stocking products that had a gray um market that people would buy a sample from us and then go on the gray market and buy it and then come into the store and complain like, "Hey, your sample didn't smell like what I bought off of this website." And it's like, probably because you got a degraded product. So that
Yeah,
is
and some of
that is my
the gray
caveat.
market websites are super super sketchy.
Yes. So be
I
be careful.
Yeah.
I know we all love a great deal. I've bought from them. I've bought discontinued fragrances off of gray market sites. I would not be able to live without my bottle of Lilac a Day from Wilhelm, which I will at every chance believe them that they should bring that one back. But the only way I could buy that was at a in a gray market, and I'm thrilled to have it in my collection. But just be wary and be understanding of what you could potentially be getting is my only point.
So the next question I think dovetails into what we've been discussing. Joe says, "Hey Mishi, I love the podcast. So, two questions. One, can we get a tour of both of your collections? I think we should maybe look at doing a whole episode for
I I mean, you don't need a full episode. I might need a full episode.
So, heard, and we'll look at doing that for an episode.
Yes.
Also, I love supporting independent artists and creators, especially now in the perfume industry. But at what point is something really, air quotes, independent when you know
Mm,
they have money backing them? I love the idea of a perfumer making everything themselves out of their studio, like Paraphrase, but some of the niche brands look like they have money and connections in the industry, and it feels nepoistic.
yep. It is a great point. And I think I want to take this opportunity to say that our labels of niche, designer, independent are they're no longer really applicable to what's actually happening in the industry anymore. Because what did niche used to mean? It used to mean a brand that is only focusing on fragrance or fragrance related products, and it was making products that were for a small percentage of the population. And it meant that those fragrances were very interesting. But once we had the niche boom, what happened is that private equity, L'Oreal, Estee Lauder, um, um, LVMH, they bought out these brands because they were doing so well and turned them into profit machines, right? And what happens when you get bought out by a big company like that or get massive private equity funding is you no longer become about the art, you become about the profit. And for some people, like that is the goal of building their brand is to eventually sell and retire on that money. And that is when it happens for you, it is wonderful. But as the consumer, we expect what you can expect is not only a degraded product because they're going to look to cut costs at and any way, but they're also going to look to release fragrances that are safer and will sell more to a larger market, and they're not willing to take risks. So I think what we think of as niche is not really niche anymore. I think independent is the new niche. And when I talk about independent, to me, I have kind of two categories. There's independent artisanal and then there's just independent. So an independent artisanal for me is something that is perfumer owned, perfumer made. Then the other side of just independent, it can be that or it can be somebody who has the money to pay another perfumer to make the product for them. Both are technically independent because they don't have a parent company above them who is funding them and putting pressure on them to release a certain kind of product. They might have their own financial situation that they're able to afford this because it is quite pricey, especially if you're going to the big oil houses. Although I do encourage anybody who is looking to make their own fragrance line and you don't want to be the perfumer to talk to independent perfumers who are willing to work. That is my PSA. But yeah, I think they're different kinds of indie and there are subgroups. And I don't like the term ultra niche, but I think the artisanal and the ultra niche are kind of the same thing and we're just using different languages for them.
It's just how edgy they want to come off.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
They're
But yeah. I think if you have any sort of financial backing at all, you're not indie.
kind of. So
Yeah.
I think when we talk about financial backing, it's easy again, this is a nuanced conversation and in the age of the internet, we don't want nuance, we want black and white answers. And it is very easy to say if you have any financial backing or any funding, you're owned by something and bad. And there
Not
is
bad.
a
Yeah.
difference between being owned by an entity and having a partnership or having a minority stake or having an investor.
Yes, absolutely.
So, yeah, by and large, I completely agree with you. I think niche, the old world of niche is dead, to quote some brands that themselves have private equity backing. Um and in the indie space, I think the word niche we could reframe as like a company that strictly focuses on a fragrance product. That's
Mhm.
their niche. That gets weird.
Yeah.
um but then when you look at something like, I mean, there are brands we know of that have money backing them, but the owner still has complete creative control.
Yes. This is true.
Um, so that's where it gets into that like shades of yes and no.
Yeah.
It's hard to build a business in a market that is so hot and so saturated like perfume. If you see a business with any kind of scale, it's not inappropriate to assume they have an investment. It's also probably not appropriate to assume they're owned by private equity until you actually know. How many times have we talked to perfumers or brand owners that in their previous lives did something that allowed them to have connections, to have the polished perspective that they're bringing to the table? We know people who worked in TV, we know people who worked in beauty, we know people who worked in movies. And now that they're in this space, they can reach into those different outlets and they come out
Mhm.
looking phenomenal. But that doesn't mean that they have money backing them.
Yeah. And I do want to say that we had this conversation recently that not all private equity, even though we love to hate on them, not every private equity firm is as awful as we think they are.
There are, I mean,
They
God,
are
we're
the
scraping the
exception, though.
bottom of the barrel. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
They're
like,
not the rule. There is a few exceptions to the rule on the particular private equity that is investing.
right. And usually, private equity has made a name for itself in the way that they're terrible.
Mhm.
But in the core ethos, it is someone who has made a significant amount of money somehow and has chosen to seek out brands to invest and support because they believe in it and they will get something back. And in that very reductive definition, there are some PE firms we have seen that are truly supporting brands and perfumers and things like that because they love the vision or they love an
Yeah.
aspect of it.
Yeah.
So I'll swallow my tongue and say, yeah, okay, sure.
I think the important part of this conversation is that nothing is there's no simple answers to any of this. and every brand exists in I, I think just categorizing it into these few different categories isn't enough for what's actually out there right now. We're seeing such an insane fragrance boom right now and people paving their own paths that it's so much bigger than just indie designer niche anymore.
Yeah, for sure. I think we're reaching a critical mass where those categories and families and delineations are things of the past.
Yeah, agreed.
Should we wrap this one up and do a part two?
There's we still haven't gotten to a lot of the questions, right?
That's why I think we should do a part two.
A part 2? I think we can do that. Is there any question you want to end with?
Uh, how did you both
Maybe
meet?
I think we've gone over that though.
We did. If you watched the first, second episode, actually, Who is the Fragrance Files? Um, you can hear a little bit more about that. But the short answer is TikTok.
TikTok. We can thank TikTok. So back when Josh and I met, I had so I had recently seen a video from Jade Bod, who was talking about how she was really slighted by a brand. And I hated watching her go through that experience. And being a newer creator, I thought I need to create a space for everyone who is just starting. Because at the time in 2023, there were so many of us who were just starting out in this fragrance journey. And Jade had been somebody who was in it for a really long time. And I'm like, how do we, if it wasn't for Jade making that video and being, being open enough with her audience to say that, none of us would have known how trash that brand was to especially women of color. And so my idea was we need to make a space for some of the newer content creators to be able to share this information about how they're being treated by brands. If you need help from anybody who might be a little bit further along in their journey. So it started off as a Facebook group that I started, and we quickly realized like we didn't like interacting in that forum, and that Facebook group turned into a group chat that started on Facebook at Messenger and then moved to IG and then moved to regular text messages for a little while and has now become a Discord. Um, with a lot of the same members from when we first started. But when we had first started, we used to jump on lives together and just talk about the fragrances that we were smelling. We would, unbox the newest scent mail that we had and talk about whatever was new that week. And Josh had come in and started, joining us in our lives, and we got along so well that I'm like, "Hey, do you wanna join our group chat?" And that's just how it was. We just immediately clicked, and I think, Josh, for me, really opened up my world to indie. As a baby creator, I don't think I really knew how much more was out there, and Josh really helped open my world to that. So, thank you so much for that, Josh, because it's really not only like opened my mind but opened my entire world in the sense of where my journey is now. So yeah, we just immediately clicked, and we started our Instagram group chat talking shit and sharing our sense of the day, and yeah.
Yeah, I think to that same point, like I had started around 2022, 23, so it was around the same time. And for whatever reason, I got a lot of followers really quickly, and then the attention died off because I wasn't that like super exuberant influencery type person. And interacting with Mishi and like the warmth that Mishi brought and the community that kind of coalesced there made me feel like I had a place to belong, because it felt really hollow up until that point for me where I was like, why am I even doing this? Like 17,000 followers for what? Like, and I was like, oh no, actually, follower count doesn't matter because I found people that I can just talk to about perfumes that I enjoy, which is all I've ever wanted to do. So,
I love that. And our group chat is still going strong and we still love each
Yeah.
other and yeah.
our our weird channels about what we're eating every day.
Shout out to the Discord.
Yeah.
All right. I want to end us on a question from James from Filigree and Shadow, and we're gonna do fuck, marry, kill. All right. So fuck, marry, kill. Filippo Sorcinelli. Ooh. Ooh, this is gonna be hard. Clue Perfumery. And I'll make it easy, Latafa.
Okay. Is this the brand or the owner? Because that
the
changes.
the brand.
Okay.
If I mean,
Um,
I know where you're going with this, so if you want to
just wondering.
go.
Fuck Clue. They're a fun little time.
They
Marry
are.
Filippo. That's one of my long-standing safety fragrances, and kill Latam. Um, fuck Mary Kill. Tobacco Honey. Portrait of a Lady. Indigo Smoke.
Fuck you. Okay. I will. I'm sorry. Even though I love it, I will kill Portrait of a Lady. Only because the first 15 seconds smell like nail polish remover. The rest is gorgeous, but if I have to pick out of the three, that is the one that's going to die. Um, I would I would fuck Tobacco Honey because she's a sexy bitch. But as it's a very often safety net fragrance for me, would be Marry Indigo Smoke.
Ooh, I have a second one if you want to think of
Oh,
another one for
another
you.
one.
Fuck
Okay.
Mary Kill.
Okay.
Je Dupe by Mind Games.
Oh god, okay.
Delina. And LaMail.
Oh my god, no. Oh my god. All right. So I have to kill LaMail because that was my toxic ex, his signature fragrance for 6 years. So we are killing LaMail. Um but oh no, I can't even say that because I really fucking hate Delina. Okay. Okay. Kill Delina. Screw that synthetic fake oud. Fuck LaMail. Um and marry Mind Games. Yeah. All right. Fuck Mary Kill. Azzaro's Most Wanted. Versace Eros. PDM Greenlee.
Kill PDM Greenlee. Um, easy. I'm gonna say fuck Azara's Most Wanted. I get this weird, almost caramel corn vibe in the opening, and it's like a
Yeah.
good time, but not something for a long time.
Yeah. I feel
And
that
like
same way about
Versace
LaMail.
Eros, yeah, Versace Eros is to me boring, but there is technically nothing wrong with it as a fragrance. So
What a
I'd marry
brilliant
that one.
marriage.
Yeah. You are on paper a good investment. Something I've learned is important in marriage.
Oh goodness. Now we're throwing shade. Okay. So now that we've gone off the rails, thank you all so much for listening. We have questions that we have not gotten to, so we're going to continue to open this up for you. If you would like to pop in the comments other questions that you have that you would like us to answer, we're going to maybe next month we will film a part 2 and get some more of your questions in.
Yep. I love this. This is a great episode format.
This is very fun.
All right. Bye.
Bye.